Howdy, y'all. It is your resident schmuck, your buddy, your pal, your idiot in a corner. It's me. You're listening to A to Jet Noise. If you're sitting in front of your laptop, computer, tablet, phone, what have you, you're watching A to Jet Noise. I posted this yesterday because I know a lot of people that watch this particular program. I don't know anything about it. I just thought it was interesting that this guy has apparently been struggling with his sexuality for years. He went on the Bachelor to partake in the game. I'm assuming that's what you all call it, a game. I don't know. Again, I don't know much about it. I know that there's roses involved and a bunch of girls and a guy, and he's supposed to pick. I don't know how he does it. I have no idea. I don't know if he's having sex with all of them or anything along that lines. But our dude here, if he indeed was having sex with all these ladies, I don't know what was that. Is this his internal struggle? Did he have that going on when he was doing that, or was he just nice? You guys have to tell me. I would kind of love to know how this particular season went down. Apparently, Mr. Colton, is it? I can't even remember this guy's name, but this Colton guy, Bachelor dude, Colton Bachelor dude. Again, you guys, please tell me how this went down, because I have no idea. But this Colton guy went through an entire season of Bachelor. You see the young lady that he picked here, Taisha Adams, and I see that they are listing her as his ex. Excuse me. You need fuel, I need fuel. They're listing her as his ex. So apparently she's the one that he picked. I don't know if you guys were happy with him. I don't know how this Taisha or Taisha or what have you. I don't know how she was. I always see that the cattiness. it's all in good fun. The cattiness in some of the comments on on Facebook, between some of the ladies. I don't know any guys that watch this. If they're guys, tell me what you're getting out of this. I'm assuming it's just you're watching the girls. But again, I don't know any guys that watch this show. So I found it interesting because I'm certainly not the right person to cover any of this. But I just found it interesting. How did that show go? Did any one of you get the impression that he might be gay? Apparently, just the comedian Billy Eichner made fun of him a couple years back, 2019. I don't know if that was the season that he was on, about him being gay, and Billy Eichner's a douche. Anyway, I'm not a fan, but it was just a joke. I'm not knocking Billy Eichner for the joke. And he did. Well, in fact, Billy Eichner apologized and is throwing his support behind this Colton Underwood. That's what it is. This Colton Underwood. Now that he came out as gay, so that is far, far, far more disturbing to me that Billy Eichner can call someone that may or may not have been gay, in a joke, say that he's gay, and that's funny. That was right to him to call a straight guy what he thought might be a straight guy, call him gay. Again, I don't know the crux behind the joke. I'm not a Billy Eichner fan, but he tells a joke for obviously for giggles about a guy who may or may not be gay, and he calls him gay. And then when the guy comes out as gay, he throws his support behind him. So was the joke? Were you genuinely trying to be funny? Were you trying to pull this guy, out of the closet? What was? If it, do you guys? I mean, do you even understand what I'm trying to say? How is it funny if you're not sure that he's gay, but it's not, but the joke, which is what it was, is not funny anymore when he's actually gay? Either we're going to tell jokes for the giggles, but and then we apologize later for telling the joke. It's the joke. That to me, that's disturbing. Either you tell the joke, some people get it, some people don't, some people get offended. It's the joke. To me, that's far more disturbing than any other part of this story. Is Billy Eichner's reaction to it? God bless him. I'm behind this Colton Underwood. I'm glad he's able to free himself from these bonds. I don't want anyone to suffer through life. Our family lost a friend because of similar situation. Because he was even married. He was even married, and he was struggling with who he was, and he's gone now. But yeah, tell me, let's have a little fun with this one. Tell me, did you know that Colton, or did he give any signs that Colton Underwood was gay? Did he sleep with multiple women on the show? I'm assuming that if he didn't sleep with them, I'm sure he made out with them. Is he bisexual? Is he gay? Because if he had successful makeout sessions with women, doesn't sound necessarily like he's, really willing to go full on guy kind of thing. So, yeah, let me know. Let's have fun with this one a little bit. With Colton Underwood in his recent coming out. God bless the guy. I hope everything goes well with him in the future. Let's talk about something that I know about. That is arguably, personally, very disturbing to me. It's MLB and the moving in the All-Star game. Let me get into this story. GOP senators fight to strip MLB of their antitrust exemption after moving the All-Star game. Republican senators Ted Cruz, Josh Hawley of Missouri, Mike Lee of Utah, Ted Cruz of Texas, will introduce legislation that would strip Major League Baseball of its antitrust exemptions. The move comes following the commissioner Rob Manfred's decision to pull the All-Star game and the MLB draft out of Georgia due to the lie that due to the president's lie that the Georgia Voting Law institutes restrictions. Yesterday, I talked about Will Smith, just and they're moving the current movie that he's working on. I think it's called Emancipation. They're moving it out of Georgia, still again based on a lie of what's going on in the Georgia voting laws. With the new Georgia voting laws, there are no restrictions, none. In the new Georgia voting laws, Cruz blasted the decision to. I'm sorry, Cruz blasted, quote, that the decision to move the MLB All-Star Game was harmful. It's going to hurt baseball, but it also underscores that there's no reason Major League Baseball should enjoy special subsidies, corporate welfare that no one else gets. That's you're tearing your foundation apart, MLB. This is huge. This is huge. They describe it as a gift from Congress and the Supreme Court that allows to operate, in essence, as a monopoly. Now, if you don't, you don't get it. If you don't really understand, like in a lot of cases, well, let me go on, because the story kind of explains some of why baseball, Major League Baseball, is a monopoly. The exemption also allows MLB to restrict where a team can relocate, because right now, if a city wants a team, all of Major League Baseball owners have to be like, oh, well, I don't know if we want one there. NFL's not too much different, but let me go on. And gives them an incredibly tight grip on minor league baseball, allowing them to control wages and where teams are located. The league was heavily criticized for gutting the minor league system this year, eliminating 43 teams. I kind of get the cost-cutting thing. Kinda get the cost-cutting thing. A lot of jobs were lost when that happened. Perhaps their woke politics will end up taking out MLB's unfettered power. The fact that Major League Baseball would get together and try to punish a state because the elected representative of the state and the elected governor of that state settled on a law to preserve election integrity is unfrickin' believable. MLB wants to partisan activists in attempt to influence our political process. They shouldn't get a special government handout for doing so. Indeed. So, taxpayer money does indeed. You're not just, investing in tickets and T-shirts and, memorabilia and stuff like that from the ballparks. But yeah, taxpayer money does protect Major League Baseball. Major League helped spread Biden's big lie about Georgia and the election integrity. Nothing they did protected voter rights. Last week, Senator Marco Rubio challenged Commissioner Manfred. I am under no illusion you intend to resign as a member of the Augusta National Golf Club. Again, in Georgia. So Manfred moved his entire league from Georgia. But will he indeed dump his membership from the Augusta, Augusta Golf Course? Will he do that? Which is a great call by Rubio. It just, the hypocrisy and the stupidity of the movement of the move of the All-Star Game out of Georgia to Denver. The whole point of the lie, well, the massive point of the lie is to manipulate you. Please, if you don't know, what entails of the Georgia law. I've shared it several times already on the program. If you do not know what is in this Georgia law and you insist that somehow it is restrictive or racist, please just keep that to yourself, because it's frustrating to know the truth and then the lies can do things just like what Manfred did with Major League Baseball. He moved, again, the main point of the lie, the biggest part of the lie is that it is racist, that they are restricting black people from voting in Georgia. So Major League Baseball decided to pick up its All-Star game from a predominantly black area where black businesses would have profited, black workers would have profited, the predominantly black city would have thrived. They would have got an incredible shot in the arm, a positive shot in the arm, economically, giving them some ability to expedite their bounce back from this incredibly insane year of shutdowns and masks and all that stuff. So they moved it from Georgia. Major League Baseball moves their multi-million, hundreds of millions of dollars out of Georgia and put it in far more lucrative, mostly white Denver. Denver, who has already, in the first place, stricter laws, voting laws, than Georgia's new ones. In Denver, if you do not have some sort of identification, you cannot vote. And in fact, there are acceptable, what Denver considers acceptable forms of identification in order to vote. Georgia went down this long list of just, you can have like your library card or your subway card, the one that they punch. If your name is on it, they'll go with that. And I say that literally because you can, in Georgia, the new law says that even if you do not have an identification, you can vote. A provisional vote. You can do that. And as soon as they're able to say, okay, well, this dude or lady actually does exist. This is a real person. They are a citizen of this particular district. You can vote here. Then your vote can count. So you can literally vote without any sort of identification. For it to count, you just have to be a little patient. You have to be a little patient. If they can follow some sort of trail that'll identify you, and they find out that you're a real person, boom. In Denver, you cannot do that. So Major League Baseball decides, well, the president said it's racist. The president lied. There's all kinds of Pinocchios and fact checks and all that on the president right now, all over the internet, about how what he said was not true. And you're not going to find those on most media sources, but you will find them on the internet. Because in fact, like CNN, you'll never see that on CNN television or on MSNBC television. But you can find it digging in the deepest bowels of their internet, of their website. The corrections, sometimes they're soft corrections, but they are indeed corrections. So Major League Baseball, right now, most you've attracted people to your politics more than the season. Now the season just pretty much just started. Blah blah blah. I'm in Cleveland, so it's hardly any fun. It's hardly any fun right now to watch baseball, Major League Baseball. In fact, the Indians just got no hit. Yes, last night, no hit in Chicago by Rodon. Was it Carlos Rodon? So that wasn't any fun. And in fact, it was going to be a perfect game until Carlos Rodon made the mistake by hitting a batter, hitting Roberto Perez, and with a pitch. Other than that, he was a pitch away from a perfect game. So, in Cleveland, it's already hard enough to watch this year's baseball season. But then you look around the league, and hardly anyone's talking about what's going on in the season. Granted, it's early. But they are talking about the stupidity of moving the All-Star game from Georgia to Denver based on a lie. Based on a lie. And the idea that even if it wasn't a lie, that baseball got involved politically with a state's choice to do what it does, with the state's law. Baseball does not control that. Baseball does not. You have nothing to do with that. In fact, no one wants you to get involved. Nobody wants. That is where the Kaepernick thing came in. Kaepernick took his ego and twisted it into a political statement, and the world ran with it. And football fans were unhappy with it. They did lose numbers because of the politics they got in the NFL. Now, NFL fans are just going to go, they really, no, they still lost numbers. They still lost numbers. The NFL was blood in the United States. That is, it was for football fans, it was incredibly important. It wasn't incredibly important. Even if you lose 5% of your fans because of the politics, doesn't seem like much. But that means you're vulnerable. That means you're vulnerable. Something else can strike again. And you lose 3% of your fans. You lose 5%, you lose 3%, and you've now lost 8% for a couple of reasons. I stopped watching the NFL because the NFL was getting high off of itself. That's going to make ESPN. Brutal hits, career-ending hits. They have, everyone has to pretend, we're sending out our prayers and blah, 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 but they would keep showing the brutal hit. And that became important. I get it, that's the gladiator thing. But I'm not into the gladiator thing. So, not a big fan of the NFL for me for a while. So, and then came the concussion thing. Now, I wasn't totally against. I understood the concussions come with the game, and you play the game at your own risk. So I wasn't necessarily saying, well, football's bad because they have concussions. I was saying that Why are you letting this thing hit you in the head? That was another loss in quality of players. That's another loss of quality of players because of the concussion protocol. A lot of parents are like, I don't want my kid playing football. And a lot of enough kids are saying, I don't want to play football because of that. Here nor there. The whole point is that there is vulnerable spots. And if you keep chipping away, and if anybody's vulnerable, it's Major League Baseball right now. And they keep chipping away, and then these guys add to reasons to be chipped away at. You're going to have yourself some serious issues, MLB. So anyway, Major League Baseball, should go back to the game. Like a few years ago, one of the greatest marketing campaigns I've ever seen was "Let the Kids Play," and it was taking the energy of the youthful players, the newer youthful players, and the smiles and the cockiness, if you will, the show, some little bit of showboating, trick plays, and things like that. It was taking that, and it turned it into just this is a playground. This whole MLB is a playground, and we're having fun. That was a brilliant marketing campaign. Let the kids play. Used it all year. They had people like Javi Baez and Mike Trout, Francisco Lindor. They were faces. Judge. They were faces of that campaign. That was cool. It was the game again. Indeed, it was the game. But now, the game is just like all the other sports. The virtue signaling is become far more important than anything else. Kimberly Potter, was charged with second-degree murder, and she resigned. And Kimberly Potter was the officer that shot, and I believe by mistake. I don't see how anyone else can say otherwise. Dante Wright. The police officer says she accidentally shot Dante Wright in Brooklyn Center, Minnesota. Will be charged with a second-degree manslaughter in his death. In Minnesota, this charge is same as involuntary manslaughter, facing up to 10 years in prison. Potter's body camera video shows her approaching Wright as he stood outside of his car as another officer was arresting him for an outstanding warrant. Dante Wright was a douchebag. So the idea that they're martyring him is, well, that's the whole point. That's the whole point. The people that are martyring him are they're part of the entire agenda. Police said he was pulled over for having expired registration tag. Also, there were warrants out of his arrest for armed robbery, trying to choke a woman, illegal firearms, and fleeing the police. As Wright struggled with police officer, Potter is heard shouting, "I'll tase you, taser, taser, taser," before firing a single shot from her handgun. She pulled her handgun in the heat of the moment, and soon after that, she screamed out, "Oh, poop," and the other word for poop. I shot him. She ended up being the one that was tased. She was stunned. So she resigned, but she will be facing second-degree manslaughter, which seems kind of steep. I don't know if that's a setup similar to I believe that they're trying to do with the George Floyd, Eric Chauvin kind of thing, where they aim high, and if they fail to get those, that's another thing too. But anyway, I'll explain it. If they fail to get those charges on him, it's just going to rile people up. In the George Floyd thing, I think that if they can literally hang Derek Chauvin and they can on the public square, and it's not enough. It's not enough to appease the riot. I think either way the riot's going to happen. What guarantees it is that they aim too high on the charges when they have no evidence of him actually leaving from his home with the intention of murdering someone. So they aim too high for Derek Chauvin, and manslaughter, second-degree manslaughter on this. She does need to do time. She does need to be off the street. Because if she went from there to, again, your handgun's on your strong side, your taser should be on your weak side. And she automatically went straight to the handgun, screaming, taser, taser, taser. That is enough for me to tell, that's enough for me to say, you don't need to be out here anymore. And she did kill a guy on accident. If you hit someone with the car, involuntary manslaughter, you're going to do time. She shot a guy. So, I do not in any way believe it was malicious, but she made a grave mistake. She does have to pay for it. And if she got out of prison, she did her time, and they wanted to hire her again, I think they should, but she cannot be on the street. Desk job for you, babe. Good luck, Miss Potter. Prayers to the Wright, Dante Wright's loved ones. Reporter loudly objected when Minnesota police chief called the street chaos a riot. Again, connected to this Dante Wright crap. When a Minnesota police chief described his officers being injured by bricks, rocks, frozen soda cans on Monday and called the event a riot, reporters loudly objected to his use of the term. A reporter asked, "What was your decision to issue a dispersal order while they were peacefully protesting in front of the police station? What led you to issue a dispersal order and then on the back end of the 10-minute dispersal order, then issue a CO2 canister and gas for the crowd?" Brooklyn, Minnesota Police Chief Tim Gannon, so everybody's clear, I was front and center at the protest at the riot. The reporters then responded. They rejected his description of using the word riot. One reporter screamed out, "There was no riot." You can then hear another reporter say, "Don't do that." Let me read this part again. He said that he was front and center as people were throwing bricks, rocks, and frozen soda cans on Monday. You can see the broken windows, burned down areas, stolen, looted stores. And in this particular case, they're throwing bricks, rocks, and frozen soda cans at police officers. He calls it a riot. I, indeed, know that type of behavior is riot behavior. The reporters say there was no riot. Don't call it that. The revolution is complete when the language is perfect. That is what we're getting right now. They changed the definitions of words, and people, people eat it up. People eat it up. And you can literally, change the definition of murder of a police officer by calling it a response. It's not that far away. In response, a police officer was killed in response to Dante Wright. And instead of it being murder, they're changing the definitions of words. And it's changing the country. Right now, the Patrice, what's her name? Patrice Cullors, the Black Lives Matter co-founder, the one that you can see on, you can find the video of her saying that they're trained Marxists. Patrice Cullors bought a house. This is the founder of Black Lives Matter. The one that literally says we're trained Marxists. She bought a house, and apparently she's buying more property. But the house that she bought is in San Diego in an all-white neighborhood. Now, it makes me laugh. It's Black Lives Matter. See, it's all about Black Lives Matter. She's rich by manipulating black people. She makes all of these millions so she can buy her incredibly expensive house in San Diego in an all-white neighborhood. Black Lives Matter unless I have to live among them. Unless I have to live amongst those black lives. This is what Ms. Cole. So that's the irony. I should say the ironic thing that she did with her millions of manipulating black people. But at the same time, she's able to say that anyone that is picking on her about this, that finds it ironic, is white supremacist. Not because you're white and you say it, but because it's being said. It's white supremacy that the Black Lives Matter leader uses the millions that she manipulated out of people's hands in governments and businesses, because that's a huge factor in this, is that Black Lives Matter can go to places like the NFL, Coca-Cola, banks, auto dealers, what have you. They go to these businesses and say, hey, your business is racist and you need to do something about it, because we are just going to come down hard on you. And they're like, well, what can we do about it? Well, you can give me a lot of money. That's basically how Black Lives Matter works. The actual crux, the center of Black Lives Matter makes its money off of carbon offsets, right? Not necessarily they're making money off of carbon offsets, but they are the whole point of carbon offsets was this: I can live my life freely. I just pay this person to take care of my carbon offsets. So whatever I use, I pay this person and they will fund for me a some inner city people having to use less energy. So here the impoverished are put in a position where they have to use less energy because rich people want to fly back and forth to Europe, and that's the way carbon offsets work. The same thing happens with the whole Black Lives Matter thing. They come in and they tell you that you're incredibly racist. Well, how do I fix that? Because I don't want my company to be incredibly racist. Well, you pay us a lot of money and we protect you. We protect you by not coming after you. It is a sad, sad state of mind, but it is obviously a brilliant way to make money. Racism is an incredibly lucrative business, and Al Sharpton could have told you that from the beginning, but Al Sharpton is nowhere near as smart as the women behind Black Lives Matter. So, once again, use the word white supremacy to when you don't want to get picked on. Just say you're a white supremacist. The revolution is complete when the language is perfect. Just like you're not allowed to say riots when black people are involved, you're not allowed to pick on black people when they're being obnoxiously hypocritical. Biden administration spending $60 million per week to shelter unaccompanied minors. $60 million a week. The Biden administration appears to be spending at least $60 million per week to care for more than 16,000 migrant teenagers and children in shelters operated by the Department of Health and Human Services, and those costs are expected to rise significantly over the coming months, according to the analysis of government data obtained by the Washington Post. With a record number of unaccompanied minors arriving at the border in the past several weeks, HHS quickly filled 7,700 available beds in its networks for permanent shelters, where the cost of carrying a child is about $290 daily. Who's spending almost $300 to take care of a child a day? $300 a day? How does that even work? It's government, so. And the capacity has been reduced by COVID protocols. And the administration has raced to set up 10 large emergency facilities, creating 16,000 temporary beds for migrant children in convention centers, converted oil workers camps, and military bases. About 8,500 children are living at these pop-up sites, and 4,000 more are waiting to be transferred from the cramped border facilities. The cost of these emergency sites is more than 2.5 times higher than the more permanent shelters, due to the need to develop facilities quickly and hire significant staff over a short period of time. He said that the average, the average daily cost per child is approximately $775,000 per day, based on past experiences. This is all for people that they're not even supposed to be here. Migrant teens and children have challenged 3 administrations, but Biden faces rush with no precedent. $60 million per week. $60 million per week to take care of people that are not supposed to be here. Meanwhile, we've got citizens here that are sleeping on the ground people that, you know, they really have to think hard where their next meal is going to come from. We're in a sad state of mind. On top of that, Texas Governor Greg Abbott announced Wednesday that state officials will begin an investigation into charges of sexual abuse and other neglect in an immigration facility in San Antonio, which is housing unaccompanied minors. The added problem. Nothing new, but now we're running investigations because we have to. They're children being sexually abused in situations that they're not supposed to be in the first place. It's bad enough, obviously, that the sexual abuse is happening, but it's happening because the opportunity is there to take advantage of these children. Freeman Coliseum in San Antonio was set up as an emergency facility to house unaccompanied minors. Officials are investigating 3 separate incident reports of abuse. Abbott was called for the federal government to close the facility in light of the allegations. During a press conference on Wednesday, the facility, quote, "The facility is a health and safety nightmare. The Biden administration is now presiding over the abuse of the children. To end the abuse, the Biden administration must immediately shut down the facility." I don't even. Oh, I said it yesterday. The only answer. The only answer that we have is unearthly. There's only one unearthly answer. And everyone knows what that is. But hearts have to change in order for that to happen. There's got to be a lot of forgiving, a lot of studying, a lot of taking time to understand. Because meanwhile, we're easily being manipulated because everything is always going to be someone else's fault. And as long as we have the easy way out of being able to point fingers at each other, we're just gonna that's where we're gonna go to. It's always gonna be your fault. It's always gonna be my fault. It's always gonna be his fault, their fault, her fault. It's we have to start taking accountability for ourselves, as well as we have to understand that we have to understand that we don't understand. We have to humble ourselves and take into account what is going on the other side. We have to do that. We have to do that because as soon as we understand that we are not the sole purpose that the earth rotates, we start getting closer to that unearthly answer. I won't say it. Everyone, I say it the way I speak cryptically. Because everyone knows exactly what it is. What the answer is. And again, I said it yesterday. They know what the answer is. That is why they changed their hearts to go away from that one source. If I speak cryptically because I feel more along the lines that it is the answer that you have to find that you have to find personally, because it sounds more like mockery when I just come out and say it. It's not shame, but it does sound more like mockery because it is being mocked by those that change their hearts away from the proper answer, from the one and true only answer as to how to turn things around. That being said, it is going to get far, far, far worse. Rock bottom is really far away, but we are plummeting. We are plummeting at a high rate of speed. And these things will go on, and they'll continue to go on, and they'll get worse. Until people start accepting the one and only true answer. Under threat, Meghan Markle and Prince Harry had police called to their 11 million pound, I guess it's like like $7 million or something like that. 7 million American dollars. So 11 million pound Montecito mansion 9 times in 9 months. Cops have been called to Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's temporary living in LA mansion 9 times in 9 months. 9 calls in 9 months. At 4:13 p.m. on Christmas Eve, sheriff's deputies were called to the property after a man was alleged to be trespassing. The Duke, Harry, said he never thought he would have his UK taxpayer-funded security detail moved upon deciding to step back from the royal duties. What do you think was going to happen, dude? If you're not a royal, why would you get royal security? You can get security, just not royal security. You thought it was going to be a free ride, bro. You stepped away. I'm neither here nor there on why he stepped away, but if he feels he needs security, better get on it. Better start pulling out that checkbook. The Duchess, who is pregnant with a daughter, said she sent letters pleading with Harry's family to not take away the personal protection officers, warning he was facing death threats. Every day, bro. Every day. Meghan also said the decision not to make her son a prince meant he would not get police protection. The decision not to make a prince... Harry's not a prince. His father and his brother and his nephews, right? There's 2 boys that the other one William has or something like that. They all have to die for Harry to get a seat. So all of those people have to die in order for Harry to get a seat. How is Meghan Markle said the decision not to make her son a prince? She must have worded that wrong. Because I know that Harry's not going to be a prince, or Harry's son was not going to be a prince, because Charles, right, firstborn, and then his firstborn, they become princes. And then his firstborn becomes the prince. Yeah, a long line of people that have to die in order for, what's his name, Harry, to become some sort of prince. But this whole thing that the police had to keep visiting like in some of the cases, it was like false alarms and stuff like that. And then there was one that's not quite necessarily. It was kind of like a disturbance, or that wasn't. They're not necessarily describing it very well. But 9 times the police were summoned to Meghan and Harry's house. There's some serious issues happening there. If indeed some of those things are, some of those or most of those are alarms, then you need to really look into your alarm system. But I just find it strange that every time Meghan opens her mouth, it's just like she wants royal privileges about something. But she doesn't fit in with any of that. She doesn't fit in with any of that. She couldn't go out of her way to. She didn't understand why she was wearing hats all the time. She didn't understand why she had the curtsy. She wants all the princess stuff on Disney, but she can't possibly be a princess, which is probably disappointing to her in the first place. So, she wants all the goodies without being in a position to actually get the goodies, and not willing to work to get the goodies. Sounds very American. So sounds very American to me. But some the I find her funny. I didn't like her. I don't know where you guys landed on her. She's not. I don't. What has she done in her acting career that makes her such a special actress? In fact, she's more of a loudmouth activist than she is a careered actress or something like that. And then didn't she do that game show with Howie Mandel? She was one of the hundreds of girls that did that show or something like that. They're all dressed the same or whatever. But was it Deal or No Deal? That's what it is. So I guess she was one of those girls. She landed Harry. It's impossible to say that otherwise. That she didn't plan on meeting Harry and landing this guy when she had the opportunity. So she was in a position to where she could meet this guy. She dolled herself up and did the right things. And now Harry's sitting whining about not having royal privileges after his wife decided, I don't want to be a royal. Charging is a common concern with electric vehicles, but some owners of the brand new Mustang Mach-E have run into a peculiar problem. The electric SUVs the Mustang SUV won't start even when the main battery pack is full. That kind of kills the purpose of the electric car, isn't it? As is the case in the electric cars, the Mustang Mach-E keeps its 12-volt lead acid. Stay with me on this. 12-volt lead acid battery topped by essentially sipping power from the much larger lithium-ion battery pack. Based on owners' accounts across multiple forum threads, including one who spoke to The Verge, which is a nerd tech magazine forum news outlet thingy. The problem is this stops happening when whenever the Mustang Mach-E is plugged in to charge up the large battery pack. that especially is an issue for owners in areas with cold weather, as Ford encourages them to leave their Mustang Mach-E's plugged in so the SUVs can use power from the grid to warm up before driving. Ford says a small number of vehicles are affected. They didn't think this car through. So as you're charging the big battery pack, the battery pack that makes the car go, the smaller battery pack, can't charge because it needs the big battery pack to charge. So when you plug in the big battery pack, it shuts off any other connection towards any other part of the car. And then the car can't, if you're living in cold weather, you need to plug in the car so that it keeps the car and the battery warm enough for it to start. But again, if you plug it in, it cuts off the connection to the smaller battery pack, which actually starts and makes the car go. Ford, where you at, bruh? The 12-volt battery powers many of the Mustang Mach-E's systems, since the large battery pack is high voltage. And so when it dies, the electric SUV cannot be started. So if you plug it in, you can't start it. And if you let it die, well, obviously it can't be started if you let it die. A deep sleep mode, if you will. Some forum members have started referring to it as the electric brick. Mustang, Ford, the electric brick. Maybe that's what they should have called it. It doesn't necessarily look like a Mustang, so they might as well call it the electric brick. Ford recently filed a technical service bulletin with the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration that confirms the problem has to do with the software on the powertrain control module. Ford wrote that this only affects Mustang Mach-E SUVs built on or before February 3rd, meaning it's possible that dozens are affected. So it sounds like maybe they corrected it. Right now, those owners cannot get the fix via an over-the-air update. The company said because apparently some of these you'll be able to download updates to your vehicles. I don't know if they can go faster. I don't know if they can go. I don't know how that'll happen. But that's scary too, because if whatever software company can literally, I don't know, maybe as you're driving, update your car, and now your car maybe can go faster for whatever reason, or now parallel parks on its own, or whatever. If it can do that, what's to say that somebody can't just shut down your car at any point? Someone disagrees with you politically. You laugh, but politics isn't everything, man. If it's in Coca-Cola, your politics are in everything. KFC's talking about getting rid of Colonel Sanders because he's offensive. They even talked about replacing him with Bernie Sanders. So Colonel Sanders will soon be gone. I don't think they're going to necessarily put Bernie Sanders, but it did come up in conversation. So, anyway, what's to say that it's, your social credit score, because that's already here, and it's going to be you're going to be far more familiar with it. So your social credit scores, where you won't be allowed to do certain things, or you won't be allowed to go certain places or buy certain things, because you're not in the right state of mind. Someone will gets to choose whether or not you are in the right state of mind. or if you're properly vaccinated, if you will. And they'll just shut down your car. What's to keep them from doing that? Right now, those owners cannot, I should say, the update, or I should say, the fix can't be uploaded. Right now, those owners cannot get the fix via on over-the-air update. There's where I was. The company said in a statement that will have to bring their Mustang Mach-E's to the dealer. Ford said the problem will be fixable via wireless update later this year. And the Mustang Mach-E's currently coming off the line should not be affected. It is impossible to jump the 12-volt battery just as you would It is possible, to jump the 12-volt battery just as you would jumpstart an internal combustion car. But it's not nearly as straightforward, especially because the battery is located behind the Mustang Mach-E's front trunk, and the hood's electronic latch is powered by the low voltage battery that cannot work because the high voltage battery is a big dud. And that is some of the madness that's happening in the world today. The officer that shot Ashley Babbitt, she's not getting charged. She's not getting charged. This one's cute. As the music plays us out. Police in Irvine, California, arrested a 37-year-old man last week after he allegedly kidnapped and attempted to sexually assault a woman because he thought she was white. Michael Songbong reportedly attempted the crimes in retaliation for recent hate crimes committed against Asian Americans. Yes, Mr. Songbong Ree's Asian. Although the major glitch in his plan was that the white woman was actually an Asian woman. According to the police, Ree approached the woman with what appeared to be a handgun and told her that if she wanted to live, she would need to get in the back of the car. The woman allegedly offered Ree her wallet and money, but then Ree responded, "We'll do that later." He then opened the rear passenger door and pushed her in the car, blah, blah, blah. Proceeded to attack her. She screamed out, fought back and screamed out. Some guy, a construction worker with a gun, an actual gun, because Ree was attacking with a fake gun, came along, and Ree fled the scene, and the police caught up with him because of security cameras and stuff like that. And he said that he wanted to retaliate on the whole Asian thing. You don't fight stupid with stupid. So she seems like she's okay. Obviously scared. Thank God she's okay. And thank God for that person, that construction worker who was a good guy with a gun. And Ree, you're an idiot. You're a total idiot. You're going to try to rape a white woman because Asian people are getting attacked. The stupid continues, folks. It's a disease. Thanks for joining me today. A to Jet Noise, Rumble, Facebook, YouTube, Parlor. Hopefully I can be here. Fridays are coming up. Mondays and Fridays are always tough for me. Hopefully I can do something here on Friday. I really want to start getting these things going consistently and getting down my actual format. Everything's loosey-goosey. Like I said, what I have to explain as to why I'm so here and there with this program. I really do love doing this. I really love doing this. But I got a personal life that affects how this all goes down. So please always check in and feel free to respond, complain, what have you, feedback. I love you guys. Until we meet again, and hopefully it'll be soon. Big hug. Be good. Be still. Enjoy your life.